Happy Monday. So today, as soon as I got here, I had a student waiting to do a makeup test. So I couldn't check in as soon as I got here, but I'm checking in now. It is 8:24 and we are not having PLC today because there's a training that we all need to do. I already did it. That's very good that we don't have PLC because I need to redo my seating chart because I redid my rows. Like I redid my room. I had one corner of my room that was like, you just can't see the board from that corner, and it was really annoying. And it's like the corner right like up at the front of the room right there. It was like the angle and the glare. So I redid my room to where it's a little bit more, I don't want to say cramped, but like cramped now. I'll just show you guys. So I love how you probably can't even make sense of this. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The important thing is I have 2 rows of 5 in front of my desk and then a row of 7. Is that 7? Yeah, a row of 7 and then 2 rows of 3. And then I have like a loner desk up at the board, which is fine for now, but I do have a class of 24, meaning there is a student that is currently in alternative placement school, but he's set to come back in that class at some point. So when he comes back, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of rearranging to make sure that he can have a seat because it's not fair to have someone just facing the whiteboard all class. If y'all are teachers and you hate making seating charts, you need to get on Gen Z. It's a website. So there's a bunch of stuff that you can do on Gen Z. Like they have all of this. I don't do all of this. I just use it for the seating charts. And it has like all these different sizes of furniture that you can do. You can even have like this is my teacher desk over here and the whiteboard or the smart board to kind of help format where the room is. And then if you go to the student tab, I'm not going to because it has actual student names in it, but you can input your student names and then just drag them around. Okay, so I just created a fake list of students. So now here's my students and you just click and drag their name where you want it to go. You can move them around, you can trade them out. Like it is so nice and easy to just quickly be able to redo your seating chart. So I'm a huge fan of Gen Z, and it's GYNZY. Not sponsored. Gen Z is free. But yeah, I learned about this last year, I want to say, and I love it. Okay, I'm going to finish up my seating charts, and then what else do I need to do today? My slides are completely done. Okay, that's crazy. My lesson plans for this week, totally planned. I'm good on this week, which again, crazy. I've already graded their tests. Like I am on top of my game for this week. Hopefully that means that I can stay on top of it and stay ahead, but you know, we'll see. I'm not gonna put too much pressure on myself. I'm just having fun at this point, you know. The first 9 weeks is over next week. That's crazy. Which also means I'm gonna have to finalize grades, and I have a lot of students that need to fix their grade. So I gotta make sure that I'm prepared for that bombardment of students. Word to the wise, double check your foldable before you print it, because I just made 70 copies of my little Hoivux backwards because it's supposed to fold. Anyway, I just printed it correctly, but what a waste of paper. And it's double-sided, so I can't even use it for like scratch paper. It's just trashed. So upsetting. Anyway, today is over. Well, it's 3:40. So we took a test on Friday and I had quite a few kids absent actually. So I have some coming to take it up after school today, maybe just 2. And I said okay to today. Normally I wouldn't, but I have a doctor's appointment at 5, and if I tried to go home, I would have to like pull into my driveway and then immediately turn around and leave. So I'm just going to wait here until like 4:40 and then leave. So I doubt that'll be enough time for them to finish, but honestly, if they can get through most of it, they can do the rest of it in class tomorrow. I don't really care, but so I will be here kind of late today, but it's not a boundaries issue. It is a, what's it called? It's a logistics issue. Yeah, that's what we'll say. So I mentioned in my last weekly vlog that we were doing a project today, and we started it. But in one of my classes, there was a fire drill, and that just totally threw us off. And then coming back from the fire drill, I had 5 students get lost and just had no idea how to get back to the class that they've been coming to every day for 7 weeks. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy how they can just forget? But anyway, it's fine. I read them all up. So we did not get to it in that class. And then in all of my other classes, I could have rushed it and we could have gotten through it, but tomorrow's lesson is a reteach of a lesson that we've already done. And it's not even a lesson that they really struggled on. It's just kind of a refresher. So I don't anticipate tomorrow lasting very long. So I had them do all the prep work for the project today, and then they're going to spend like 10-15 minutes tomorrow working on it. And basically, let me just show you. It's a 4 corners model, if you're familiar with that. I actually taught 4 corners in 7th grade, which is really funny how much I'm reteaching. Like just how much is a review. So you have your situation, which they're all given a situation, and you have to express it as a description or a story or a question, scenario, whatever. The equation, table, and graph. And I want it to be pretty. Just a little close up for you. Okay. So it shouldn't take them very long. Most of them have already, they were in teams, so most of them have already finished like the outline, like the rough draft. I had them do it on paper. And so tomorrow when they come in, they can just grab a piece of chart paper and knock it out pretty quickly. So right now I'm redoing my key because I printed it backwards. That's the only thing I have to say about foldables is sometimes it's very confusing to try and figure out how to print it. And normally, like I got it down. I figured it out, okay? I did. But I did this last week, and I know I had one that was right and one that was wrong, and I threw the wrong one away, but now I'm thinking I threw the right one away on accident. Oh well. So overall, not a bad day. My second period, they are testing me. That class is silent. Well, they're supposed to be being silent, and I'm enforcing that pretty well, I think, because I was like, okay, for the first 15 minutes, which is their warm-up, no one can talk. If you talk, you're getting a write-up. And 2 people started talking, so I wrote them up, and then everyone else was like, oh crap, she's being serious? And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie about that. So hopefully they realize I'm serious, because that class is going to go through boot camp, as I like to call it. I've had a class every year have to go through boot camp. I call it kindergarten boot camp because we practice lining up, we practice coming in quietly, we practice staying in our seats, and we just do it over and over and over and over and over again until they can do it right. And if one person messes up, oh, we all got to start over. So sometimes it takes like 20 minutes of the day of just starting over. And it's really annoying, but it gets the job done. So thinking I'm going to have to do that in that class because it is a full class. Every single desk is filled. So I think that's the only way I'm going to be able to manage it, especially with a new behavior thrown in the mix. So, good morning. Happy Tuesday. So today I got here at 7:30, which is early because I had, two students say they were going to come this morning to take their test. They didn't show up. So I'm supposed to do a learning walk during PLC today, and then tomorrow my whole PLC is doing learning walks. And I'm not sure why I have to do it twice. I think it's because I'm a first-year teacher at this school, and so they want to coach me or whatever, which is fine. But like, hi, it's 3:15. I'm exhausted, but it's okay. We had quite a day. So my second period had a silent class today, and it's truly shocking how much they get done when they're not talking. So I only wrote up 2 students because they decided that if they couldn't talk, they were just going to go to sleep. So they didn't do anything all class. They just slept. But everyone else stayed silent and they worked to the point where the last 20 minutes of class, I let them work together as long as they were whispering. Because let's be real, some of them were already doing that, but I can tell who's talking about the work and who's not talking about the work. And everyone that was talking was specifically asking how do you do this? Or what did you get for this one? Which is the type of talking that I want to happen. So it did get a little off task when I told them that they could work together, because then they were like, oh, we're allowed to talk about anything we want. No. But it actually went pretty well, and I'm going to do it again tomorrow because they actually paid attention. And I also told them that that class had the lowest test scores in the whole school, because they did. And I was like, I wonder if there's any correlation between y'all getting the lowest test scores and y'all not paying attention because you're talking so much. So I think that really sunk in with some of them. But speaking of test scores, during PLC today, we had a data reflection, which I hate doing those. But anyway, so we were looking at question by question on the test, seeing what percentage the district got right, what percentage of the campus got right, and then what percentage of each teacher got right. And we're only putting up the top 2 or 3 teachers for each question. That way, if I'm looking at my data and I'm ooh, I got a really low percent on this question, I can go to one of those people and say, how did you teach this? Help me teach this. Great in theory. But what ended up happening is I'm just sitting there through 24 questions, and not one of the highest percentages was ever me. And I was like, this is just great. My scores were the worst of everyone. Partially, I realized that the other teachers are teaching more Desmos tricks than I am. I'm teaching everything by hand because I was under the impression that we teach it all by hand, and then prior to STAR, we teach them all the tricks. So I've just been teaching it the old-fashioned way, and apparently everyone else has just been showing them how to do it on Desmos. And I don't want to say the cheat way, but it solves it for them. And I'm then why are we teaching them how to solve it if y'all are just teaching them how to put it into a calculator? But anyway, now I know that I need to be spending way more time teaching how to do things on the calculator, which is fine. I mean, I'm not very good with it, so I'm going to be talking to one of the other teachers who has a lot of the tricks kind of ways to teach it to where it sticks in their brain. So I'm going to go pick her brain a little bit and incorporate that into my lessons moving forward. And then what else? What else happened today? Oh, the project that I was talking about. It went well. I only did it in 2 of my classes, but I'll put up a little picture or video of all the student presentations. But they did pretty well. I mean, it wasn't a super creative project. It was pretty simple, but I think they really appreciated being able to stand up and like work, because I put the chart paper on the wall, so they were like working at the wall, so it was away from their desk, so I think that they liked doing that. I'm still waiting on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people to finish testing. 3 of them have just been absent ever since. 4 of them have just been absent both Friday and yesterday and today, so I haven't been able to retest. But a lot of them, the majority of them are coming after school to do it, either today, tomorrow, or Thursday. So hopefully I can get that done. Today I taught converting from standard form to point slope. No, converting from standard form to slope intercept form, which we've already done. So today was kind of like a refresh day. And then tomorrow and the next day I'm teaching point slope form, which is so ridiculously easy. Like, when I saw it on the calendar, I was like, oh, shoot, I don't remember how to do that. Like, I'm going to have to, study up. No, I'm not. You just put in, you're given the slope and a point, and you just plug it in to the equation. That's it. Now, will they be able to actually do it? Different question. I don't know. I guess we'll find out tomorrow. I'm still pretty caught up, but I ended up not doing the learning walk again today. It wasn't my fault. The person who was supposed to do it with me was late, and she was like, well, let's just do it on Thursday. But tomorrow during PLC, so during first period, our whole team is going on learning walks, and then on Thursday, me and the other new teacher are going on more learning walks, first and second period. So someone is going to be covering my second period. And to me, just feels like a little bit of a waste of time. I'm just going to be honest. I love learning walks. I love learning walks, but I'm doing them tomorrow during PLC. So why would I do them again the next day and miss class to do it? Also, I'm missing PLC, so everyone else is going to be going over materials for next week, and I'm just going to miss it. A little bit frustrating, but I don't make the rules. I just follow them. I also am tired of my desks getting pushed all over the place because they're on wheels, and so even when they're locked, they're still super easy to move. So my desks always end up super out of whack at the end of the day, and I know how they're supposed to be. The students know roughly where they're supposed to go, so they put them like in line, but they're not at the right point in the classroom. You know what I mean? Like, they should be here, but they line them up here, and it's like, ugh. So what I did is, I don't know if you can see this, but I put tape in front of each desk. So each row has a line of tape in front of it, so I can just say, make sure that your desks are behind the tape at the end of class. I did that, if you're row 1 and you've been here since middle of last year, I did that at my middle school, and it worked okay. Hey, it worked pretty well, but I used just painter's tape, so it like ripped very easily. For the majority of my class, in this one I used electrical tape, and I feel like that doesn't rip as easy and it'll stay stuck down a little bit better, but I ran out, so my last row is painter's tape, so that one might get torn up a little bit, but who cares? And then a student made this for me in welding. Isn't that so sweet? He welded it. It's a little A. You guys, happy October! And happy Wednesday. So today is in fact October 1st. the start of the best time of the year. October, November, December, unmatched, okay? So today I actually got here early at 7:30. I went to Starbucks and met with my friend, and so I got here early. The pecan crunch oat latte is so yummy. So today during PLC, we're going to be observing other teachers' classrooms, which is cool. But that means that we're not going to get to go over next week's materials. So I kind of did that yesterday during conference, and I just found some of my own materials based on what they had last year. So I'm going to probably, maybe during my conference either today or tomorrow, talk with my coworker and see what she thinks, because we usually end up planning together. Today we are teaching point slope form, which, y'all, I don't know, do y'all dream? And if so, what do you dream about? Because I was never a dreamer, okay? I did not used to dream until I met my husband. And he was talking about how he dreams every single night, and they're like super like crazy, and he can control them. When I met him, I was like, oh, I don't dream. But ever since I met him, I do now, which is weird. But my dreams are not cool. They're not fun. They're mundane and realistic, okay? So for example, I had a dream last night that the assignment I gave them today was more in depth than what I actually taught. So I had to keep telling them like, oh, skip number 3. Oh, and skip number 6, skip number 5. Like, and they were all just getting so confused. And I was like, how could I have done this? Like, how did I miss that? Like, just something so mundane. So anyway, all of my dreams are like that, where I wake up and I'm like, that could have happened. Did it? Like, I'll have conversations with people in my dream, and then I'll wake up thinking that that conversation was real. Like, there was one time I remember I had a dream that my friend group was mad at me, and we were like getting in an argument over a text. And so I woke up in a panic and I looked for the text thread and I couldn't find it. I then realized that it was all a dream, not real at all. So, yeah, interested to see. I feel like the stress dreams about work are pretty common for most people, regardless of what you do. I used to have, well, I still do. I have dreams about school pretty often where it's like I am teaching something wrong, or I didn't plan something, or one of my dreams the other day, they kept adding students to my class until my roster was like 40 kids. And I was like, well, standing room only, guys. Like, I don't know how to even manage this many people in one room. So just kind of silly, but I have lots of time to get ready this morning. And really, I don't have much to do. I think I mentioned maybe last week or the week before, I can't really remember, that I wanted to switch up my slides every month. And so I made my October slides, and I think they're so cute. Okay, so here's my slides. As you can see, I have the date, reminders. I have the agenda on a headstone, which I think is adorable. And then I have a 15-minute timer because that's how long they have for the warm-up. And this one just plays music. Cute. And then, here's the foldable that we're doing today. The rest of the foldable. And then look at the little mummy. And so this is just kind of how I give my assignments. Isn't that adorable? So anyway, I hope the kids appreciate it because, I mean, it really didn't take that long to do, I'll be honest. It wasn't that big of a deal. Oh, it's October, which means I can put up my window clings. Let's do that right now. So cute. However, I have been using these for 2 years and I fear some of it has lost its stickiness. So I'm just going to leave that up. Whatever falls, falls, and I will just throw it away. Because I'm pretty sure I got these for like $2 at Joann's. Joann's used to be the place to go, but the Joann's in my area just closed. So now I have to go elsewhere for my cheap decor. Good morning, happy Thursday. I don't remember vlogging much yesterday because during my conference I went over to my coworker's room and we started planning for next week since we're not really getting to do that in PLC this week. And then a bunch of other teachers walked in and we all just started talking. So conference was not the most productive, but it was good to just talk to everybody. And then I had tutorials until 5 and they were actually really good. A lot of my kids are doing test corrections and the end of the first 9 weeks is next week. So a lot of them are trying to get everything done. Today it is 7:45. I have my coffee. Look at how cute. I don't know if you can see, but it's like dancing skeletons. And then my earrings are the little cookies. So cute. So during PLC today, I don't think that we're meeting because me and another teacher are doing another learning walk. Oh yeah, we did learning walks yesterday and they were so good. I honestly love observing other people's classes because there's always more to learn and I love seeing how other people do things and seeing what works for them, what maybe doesn't work, and what I can take and steal and use in my classroom. So we got to look at 2 teachers. It was a 9th grade English class and then a 10th grade math class. And honestly, that English teacher, there was a lot of things that I wanted to steal from her. So for the first like 10-15 minutes of class, the students were just silently reading. And I was like, how did you get them to be silent? One, that was a pre-AP class, but also she just bugs them until they stop talking. And she's had the whole first 9 weeks, so I just need to enforce silence during the first 15 minutes of class because I do something similar where the first 15 minutes are warm-ups on Delta Math. So the whole idea is for everyone to be quietly working. I don't need a silent room, let's be real, but quietly working. Like I want everyone focused and I can pull people for conferences. I implemented that yesterday and I actually got to work with quite a few students. I just pulled them and had a few like practice problems written on a little whiteboard and had them do them, and it was good. So I kind of have an idea of, it was all slope stuff, so I kind of have an idea of, do we need more work on slope? Can we move on? And we need more work on it. I definitely want to keep doing that, and my goal is to have, like, if I can see 4 people a day, that would put me at almost seeing everyone in a week. And there's some people that I get to see more of during class just because they're asking more questions, or maybe for some reason I'm seeing them more than I'm seeing other people. So that 15 minutes is a time for me to intentionally work with the kids that I don't get to see as much and I don't get to work with as much. So the idea is that I would have like the same questions that I ask everyone, and then at the end of the week I kind of have a good idea of mastery level of that topic. Now I already knew that slope was a struggle because it's easy but they overthink it. And it's it's really funny because it'll be like slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Okay, one of the most basic equations ever. They've seen this equation for years. The m is slope. So I will just write an equation, y equals 2x plus 1, and say, what's the slope? and they can't tell me. And I'm like, oh. They'll say like X. And I'm like, okay, first of all, X is not, you have two numbers to choose from. 2 and 1, or whatever, the M and the B. But anyway, okay, there was something that I actually needed to do, and I don't remember what it was. Story of my life. So, the learning walks got canceled for a reason that I don't know, but we got our glue sticks in. Not only that, we also got more dry erase boards, and they come with markers and like erasers. So I am pumped about that. I have a full class set. So they're just blank, double-sided whiteboards. Yay. With little erasers. And a pack of markers, which these markers are probably gonna run out of ink so fast, but it's fine, because I have lots of markers. Okay, I'm gonna replace my current dry erase boards because they're all like gridded and old, and they just have like permanently written on stuff. So I don't know where I'm going to put this, but I'll figure it out. The end of the day, 3:30. So today's been a very low mental health day / energy day for me. So that sucks because it's days like today where I'm like, what's the point? But I know it's not. But I have been planning for next week. I'm very proud of myself. I'm staying on top of lesson planning. Next week is a short week, praise the Lord. It's a 4-day week. And the following week, for the kids, it's another 4-day week, but we have a PD on Monday. So I think next week we have 2 days of parallel perpendicular. One like teacher choice day, which I'm gonna probably go back over just lots of slope graphing equation stuff, like conversions. And then Thursday, we're gonna go over correlation versus causation because we're getting into linear regression the next week. After 4th period, there was a bunch of shouting in the hall, and I was like, what is going on? Why are we shouting? And I walked over there. It was literally like 20 feet away. I walked over there, and there's this huge crowd of people, and I'm like, y'all go to class. There was not a fight, but a verbal altercation happening. Luckily, the teacher next door was able to break it up before it turned into anything serious, but what do you gain from that? I don't understand that. Today, the kids just weren't having it. They did not. It was specifically one class, and I hate that it's the first class of the day because it just ruins my mood. Usually my 3rd period does pretty well. So that class is pretty good about like boosting my spirits. I try not to let it affect the next class, but I'm human. So that first period is just brutal and just makes me want to give up. Happy Friday and good morning. Let's see. I left my desk in a wreck, so I've just been kind of going through it, planning for next week. I pretty much have all of next week planned, except we have a teacher choice day on one of the days, and I think I'm going to spend that day just working on slope and writing equations and things like that. I'm not super worried about graphing because honestly, as long as they know how to come up with an equation, they can just put it into Desmos and have Desmos graph it. So I'm really not worried about that. And then I also at some point would like to go over all of those Desmos tricks with the kids again. I don't want to call them Desmos tricks. I shouldn't call them that because they're not tricks. They're just using Desmos the way it was intended to be used as a tool. Oh, my desk is a mess. This is stressing me out. Okay, it's fine. We're doing Hooibucks today, which is horizontal and vertical lines. If you've never heard of Hooibucks, I hadn't either. It stands for horizontal, 0, y equals. Vux is vertical, undefined, x equals. So if you see a horizontal line, the slope is 0, and the equation is going to be written as y equals whatever. And then same thing for vertical. A vertical line is an undefined slope, and the equation will be x equals. So we're going over Hooibucks today. That way, next week we can jump into parallel and perpendicular lines, which I am scared. It really should not be hard. But I thought point slope was going to be easy, and some of them just couldn't get it. So who knows what's going to happen. But next week is a short week. All right, that is week 8. All right, that is week 8 over and done with. It is my conference right now. So it is, obviously, since it's Friday, I am putting in my class points, participation grades. Oh, I have to call a few parents. And then I'm just going to make sure that my lesson plans are good for next week, and that is all. I may or may not be having a student come by after school to make up a test. I don't know. So glad that it is the weekend. I am so tired. But this week, overall, I feel like it wasn't that bad. Do I remember much of this week? No. I wanted to go ahead and show you guys what my in-class points grading system looks like. So I did not create this spreadsheet. Someone on my team did, and they shared it with me. I do not know how to make all of this work, but basically there are codes written into all of the checkboxes where each box is worth 4 points. The students start the week with a 100, which is why most of the grades that you see right now are 100. And then each day or at the end of the week, I go back and check all of the boxes. One of them is an absent, which they don't get any points off for being absent, but that's more of just like to remind me days that they missed. They can lose points for being tardy, not doing the notes, not doing the worksheet or activity of the day, sleeping during class, or being chatty. So the way it works out is it ends up being 20 points per day. So for most of these kids, they are getting A's, even hundreds. But for some students, they end up getting failing grades, either just because they're tardy or they sleep through class, they're not engaged, all that sort of stuff. And what's funny is sometimes kids end up getting higher scores if they're absent because I can't take any points off when they're absent. So if this is something that y'all want to see more in depth, I would love to answer any questions that you guys have. Hello again. It's 4:36. I want to get out of here, but I just realized that I'm planned for next week, but I never actually made copies for next week. So I'm just gonna have to do that on Monday because the printer or the copier is already turned off and it takes a few minutes for it to warm up, and I just don't have the patience for it right now. But I have all of my copies set aside, ready to go. I just need to copy them. So I am done for this week, almost done with the first 9 weeks. And I was successful. I called all my parents that I needed to, or emailed them. So good to go there. But thank you for joining me on another week as a teacher. I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and like it. You can comment down any of your thoughts, suggestions, questions, comments, concerns, encouragements, etc. down below. I love to read what you guys have to say, and make sure that you subscribe so that I can see you in the next one. Mwah. Bye.